Hello, hello, and welcome everybody. I am so excited to have you at the Fierce Kindness Community Guest Speaker event today. How are you doing? I would love for you to chat one thing that brought you to this session today. So, one thing in the chat that brought you to this session here today, whatever it is, just curious. And it's very exciting. We've got people from Europe, from Australia, from Africa, from Canada and America, from South America. Hi from Italy. So a wish to journal together, connection and inspiration, curiosity, my love of journaling and experience with Lynda's brilliance. There you go, Lynda. Curiosity, setting journaling goals. So all the things, curiosity, and also I'm seeing just to put pen to paper. Oh, that's beautiful. And they learned about it at World Journaling Day, loving to journal, been ill in bed. So just an exciting, yeah, we've got some amazing. So we got connection, journaling, putting pen to paper. Can never get enough journaling with a group. Those are some beautiful reasons to join us today. And thank you for being here. So our shared purpose in this kind community is simple but powerful. Number one is to connect globally. And here we are doing that right now. To grow ourselves, because it's not just about being kind in the world, it's also about learning self-kindness, how to manage our inner critic, set boundaries, strengthen our resilience. These are all things that self-kindness can do, but also learning how to enjoy life in these challenging times, because a kinder world really does start with us. And I also know that our third purpose, which is being a force for good in the world, is something that resonates with many people in our community. And today we are growing ourselves. And our fabulous guest speaker, Lynda Monk, is here to help. So a little intro. Lynda is a registered social worker and professional certified coach with over 30 years experience in teaching, speaking, and coaching, especially in the areas of burnout prevention, self-care, writing, and wellness writing to heal. I know that many of you also know her and have come from the International Association of Journal Writing, which Lynda is the director of. And that's an incredible, inspiring community for journal writers worldwide. Lynda deeply understands the therapeutic and life-changing power of journaling. She's a keynote speaker and also runs workshops and educational sessions on journaling to help us harness the power of writing to heal and transform our lives. She's also the co-editor and co-author of several books, including Affirmations for Self-Love, The Great Book of Journaling, The Great Book of Journaling, Transformation Journaling for Coaches, Therapists, and Clients, Writing Alone Together, and more, one of which I'll mention at the end. And last but not least, Lynda is also a wonderful friend and cherished colleague. We've known each other for, I think, 15, 16 years now. And Lynda, I love you. And so it's time to hand over to Lynda for our session today. And if you have any questions, do feel free to type them into the chat. We're only going to be going to sort of urgent questions in the chat as we go to make sure we stay on time. But Lynda has allowed a little bit of time for questions at the end. So I will be monitoring the chat. And thank you, Lynda. It's time to hand over to you.
Great. Thank you, Emma. And I'll hand the waiting room over to you. Kit's just coming in. Well, welcome everyone. Before we dive into journaling, I just want to say what a joy this is in this exact moment to be together here with my dear friend Emma Louise Elsie, and who I call Em most of the time. And to have, I'm just looking out and seeing how many IAJW members are here with that spontaneous invitation I sent this morning. So I'm really so happy you're here. And it's extra special because Emma and I are two friends, two people in the world who are both putting energy into growing community. Her with her Fierce Kindness community, which launched last fall, and myself and all of us here in the IAJW community, which is a global journaling community. And community is something that fuels our creativity. It fuels our self-kindness. It fuels compassion in the world. And when community is focused towards something that helps us grow and helps us self-discover, which happens in journaling, which happens in being oriented to being kind with ourselves and with each other, which is the focus of Emma's work in the world, something really magical happens. And I think it has a ripple effect out beyond what we do in the next hour and what we do when we come together. It really nourishes us day to day. So, our focus today, and I'm just going to share some slides to guide us through this process, which will be experiential. Just one moment while I do that. And I just got to move this over. Our topic is journaling your way to deeply inspired goals. And Emma and I picked this together January. We're still in the early weeks of our brand new year, 2026. And we know it's a time where we can be thinking about our goals and our intentions and our true hopes for the year ahead. And I love journaling for goal setting. And I also love using our writing practices to not just set our goals, but actually help us achieve them, which is what we ultimately want to do. So, in our time together, I will be taking a look at exploring your inspired goals and what are inspired goals. We'll have a little chat about that. And we'll do some guided journaling. I will be offering you a variety of journaling prompts so that we can go to the page individually and in the energy of each other going to the page so that you can energize not just your goals, but you can feel energized yourself because we have to feel motivated to take action towards our goals. And we have to have that sense of inspiration that comes from within us to sustain us over time with tending to what our goals are and the steps that we need to take to accomplish them. And one of the things I love doing is visualizing goals as if they've already happened, because that can help it really lock in where we can feel what it would feel like to have this or that happen or occur in our lives. And that can really propel us forward to actually doing all of those regular actions it takes to make our goals come true. So I want to start with just getting us thinking about what do we mean by inspired goals. Inspired goals are goals, they're the goals that come from deep within us. They're guided by our values, our passions, our sense of purpose and meaning. They're really rooted in our inner wisdom. What do you know you need? What do you truly deeply want to have happen in your own life and unique circumstances? So they're not goals that are given to us. They're not based on external expectations or societal pressures, but they're from that deep, true, authentic place that lives within each one of us. And from that place, our goals are really unique to us. And I'm just going to ask if you're not muted, if you could, for some background noise there. Thank you. So, goals help us focus our priorities. When we know what it is we would like to achieve, to experience, to have, to do, it helps us orient our daily life. So, goals aren't just these random, lofty things we may or may not have, but they're those things that speak to us, that help orient what am I doing in my day to day. So, for example, Emma mentioned I have a new book coming out called The Adoptee's Guide for Healing, Wholeness, and Growth. And I've held that goal for a long time to write in the adoption space. And having that goal caused me to get out of bed for days on end for a month last summer to write every day to make this book happen. It's having that vision of that book being done, having the vision of someone reading it and holding it and benefiting from it, that gets you to your desk, gets you writing, gets you figuring it out. And so our goals aren't just these things, but they're kind of compasses, they're directional arrows to help orient our days and our priorities and our time. So we all know what goals are, but I think when we start thinking about inspiring goals, we can hopefully get excited about it and be inspired. Tony Robbins says that setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And that's what we're doing particularly when we begin to write down our goals. We're taking what might be just an idea in our head or this instinct that this would be nice to do or this would be nice to have, and we're making it concrete. We're committing it in a way to paper. We're committing ourselves to that thing. And that creates a real alchemy of energy, motivation, inspiration for taking action. I like to think of inspired goals as the difference between should goals and soul goals. Our soul is that deep essence part of us, that part of us that's completely unique. And soul goals, they're magnetic. They call us forth, they pull us towards them. They're aligned with our values, our purpose, our joy, and our growth. I really believe our soul goals are given to us. They're given to us to help us expand. They're given to us to help us learn new things. And as such, I think we're supported to reach them. When we really say yes to the goals that are inspired, that come from deep within us, I think lots happens in and around us and in the world around us to actually help us accomplish them. We might meet someone that is a connection to something that we're dreaming about. Like I connected with a new publisher for this new book. And it was like, oh, that could be a perfect fit. It's like everything we need is actually often out there and all around us to support us with what we're trying to do. So we can have goals in all kinds of areas in our relationships, our family, our health, our career, our finances, maybe projects you're dreaming about, travel. And goals don't have to be massive. They can be those small, simple pleasures, those small joys that are calling you forward. They can also be things that can be difficult and challenging. I set a goal to run my second 10K in May, and I ran my first one last year without any preparation. But I was at the starting line with Emma's husband, Duncan. He's one of our IAJW, key part of the IAJW as well. And he's a runner, and he was running a half marathon, but we started at the same time. And that goal, just having it, really caused me to do different things that I wouldn't have normally done, and they weren't all easy to actually get there. So we don't, our inspired goals, we're supported with them, but they also take our effort. So I want to take us into a brief guided visualization to just get you thinking about your own inspired goals. And then we will move into our first journaling. So I invite you to lower your gaze or close your eyes, whatever you're comfortable with. You're just turning your attention inward, minimizing external distractions. And just take a moment to settle into your seat. Might be a chair or a couch. And just notice that surface beneath you, supporting you, holding you steady in the here and now. And allow your shoulders to soften. Just drop them a little bit, inviting your body to relax and settle in. And take a slow inhale through your nose and a bit longer exhale through your mouth, letting your breath support you to relax and arrive. Now begin to imagine yourself standing in a wide open space. Maybe it's a wide open field, a beautiful space in nature. The air feels clear and clean. You can feel this air on your skin, cool and gently. And there's a sense of possibility here. Nothing rushed, nothing forced. And in the distance, you begin to notice something gently drawing your attention. It might be an image, a word, a feeling, a simple sense of knowing. It's just right there out in front of you in this open space, something calling to you. And imagine that this represents an inspired goal that wants your care and attention right now. You don't need to analyze it or overthink it. Just notice how it feels to begin to move closer to this inspired goal. Does it bring you curiosity, energy, hope? Just begin to take steps towards your inspired goal now. Just being curious, allowing it to come into form, allowing you to see it as clearly as you can. And let this goal come into focus in a way that feels natural for you. You might quietly ask yourself, what matters most about this? What feels exciting about this? What's calling to me now? And take one more slow breath, just breathing in and breathing out. And as you exhale, imagine bringing this sense of inspiration, this sense of excitement about your own inspired goal gently into your heart, your body, your mind, your spirit. And when you're ready, open your eyes or raise your gaze and let your pen help you listen more deeply as you begin to explore your goals through journaling. And our first prompt: what goals or goal would have you feel like you're on top of the world if you accomplished it? You can just start by making a list, just be generative. It might be some of what you saw in that meditation, something that's coming to you in this moment. And we're just going to take 2 minutes. You're just letting it flow freely. What goals or goal would have you feel like you're on top of the world if you accomplish them? Don't worry about how you'll accomplish them. You're just getting connected to the energy of what. Okay, just 10 more seconds. And you can set your pen down. That's just a bit of a warm up, getting you thinking and feeling into your goals, your inspired goals. And I want to just share a couple of things about the key elements of inspired goals before we move to our next journaling prompt. And as I share these, I'd like you to think about, as you look at the list you just wrote, just how these are true for your goals. So, inspired goals are rooted in purpose. They connect you to something that matters deeply to you. So, as you look at what you just wrote, can you see that in there? Can you see that what you're identifying as your inspired goals, those goals that you'd feel on top of the world if you accomplished, how they're rooted in something meaningful to you? The next element of an inspired goal is that it's emotionally energizing. Instead of it feeling like a burden or a should or a have to, just thinking about it gives you some sort of emotional boost. It makes you feel good. It's aligned with your values. They reflect what you truly care about. They reflect something about the core values that lead and guide you in your life. Maybe it's connection, service, love, kindness, health. These are examples of our values. They're guided by intuition. They're a gut feeling. They're from listening to your inner voice. So as you were doing that journaling, that's your own voice speaking to you, your own inner voice coming out and through you and onto the page. And inspired goals, they're flexible. They're not forced. They can evolve with you. They can meet you where you're at. They can adapt as you grow and change and take action towards them. So they're something in a way you're in partnership with and in service to. There's a devotional part where you might look at what you wrote and have this feeling, I want to devote myself to this, or I want to devote some parts of my daily life and time and energy to this. So right now I have some inspired goals around some certain aspects of my health and wellness. And each day I start in my morning by journaling and I ask, what's the most important thing I can do today in support of my health and wellness? And I write. And the journaling is a companion practice, not just for identifying my goals, but for guiding me in terms of what actions I need to take to actually accomplish them. So, why do we write these down? Why don't we just think about them? Well, there's a science to writing down our goals, and it's one of the reasons I think journaling really matters in our life. And there's actually research done that shows that with our goals, if we think about them, they have one level of coming true. If we think and speak about them, they have even more likelihood of coming true. That's why it's good to tell a friend or a coach or somebody. And the third level is that if we think, speak, and then write it down, that trilogy of actions, it creates the most likelihood that we will actually achieve our goals. So just by taking the time a couple minutes ago to write down your goals, you've already put some energy into them happening. There is lots of different science, but I just pulled out one that I thought was interesting, and it was a study that was done by Dr. Gail Matthews. And participants were put in groups, and and recorded their goals. And the research showed that people who wrote down their goals were significantly, not just partially, but significantly more likely to achieve them than those that didn't. And it showed that it was a 70%, 76% higher likelihood, the people who wrote down their goals versus the people who didn't. That's a pretty good advantage on our side to keep journaling about our goals. So we're going to go to our next journal prompt. I think inspired goals are deeply rooted in what's possible. A couple of years ago, I got a tattoo. I was 53, 54, my first tattoo, and it says anything is possible with an exclamation mark and a little heart. And it's really a mantra that I live by, and it's actually in my own handwriting, and it came from the pages of my journal. I took a picture and sent it to the tattoo artist. I'm not saying you have to tattoo your journals on your body. There's many things in my journals I would never put into ink, but anything is possible felt fine. But the reason I talk about possibility is because the energy of possibility inspires us. It's the opposite of limiting beliefs. It's the opposite of the obstacles that we might think are in the way as we strive for our goals. And the more we can dream into possibility, the more we energize what's actually possible. So, this next journaling prompt, if anything were possible, not worrying about how you would do it, you're getting connected to the what. If anything were possible, what would you love to create, experience, or grow in the next 6 to 12 months? Another way to think of this is what's calling to you now. And we'll take 3 minutes with this one. Enjoy. Okay, begin to wrap that up. I want you to just reflect for a moment on what you just wrote. And I want you to get curious, and I'm going to give another prompt. You might read over what you just wrote. If it's fresh, you can just carry on. I want you to think of this like unpacking it. You're just getting curious. And I want you to use this prompt. Why is this important to me? And you can write that a few times. Respond to it, and then why is this important to me? Why is this important to me? And then you can get curious. How would achieving this goal feel in your body? What would be different in your heart, in your life? Why is it important to you? And how would it feel to achieve it? Okay, and begin to wrap that up. And you can set down your pen for now. We'll do a bit more journaling here in a few minutes. I know these are short times for big questions, but you're really just making connection with all this inside of you on the page. You can always come back and explore any of these things further. But I want to pause there and, well, not doing a full sharing circle. We have a brief time here. But I want to give you the feeling of what it's like to be able to connect through journaling and community. And I wonder if there are a couple of volunteers, brave volunteers, who would be open Mark, to sharing a line or two from your writing, or perhaps it's that piece around why it's important to you. It's a gift to hear the sound of your own voice, sharing what you wrote, and it's really a gift to be the witness and listener. So when we receive someone's journaling, we're not critiquing the writing, we are receiving it as the gift that it is. So, are there a couple volunteers who'd be willing to share a short excerpt from what they wrote? Okay, Mark. Awesome, thank you. Mark is in our IAJW community and he's an amazing man. I'm so glad he's here. And then we'll come to you, Michelle.
Uh, like usual, I don't usually share what I write because it's more like what the experience was of going through this, like what it was like to do the writing. And I found like after that first guided meditation that my goals my goals went somewhere completely unexpected. It's not what I was thinking. I mean, I have a very specific goal set that I've been working on lately in regard to journaling, and as you may know, um, I'm working on something specific, but it seemed after that guided meditation to be absolutely prosaic, and I went more towards the spiritual realm. Like it was
Mm,
like so. I mean, and coming back from a spiritual kind of goal, um, that was my experience. It's like um, I don't think you can really realize some spiritual goal like that I was thinking about, but you can realize actual goals that specific things that you do. You know what I mean? I
mhm.
was taken aback where I went. That's all.
Great, great. Thank you, Mark, and thanks for sharing that. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about journaling is that we let ourselves get surprised. We let ourselves be taken to discoveries and insights that we wouldn't necessarily otherwise have had if we hadn't gone to the page. And that's in part why we journal, to discover new things, to open to curiosity, to have new things come into our awareness. So that's a beautiful share, Mark. Thank you. Michelle, I'll come to you, and then Virginia.
Yeah, thank you. I wrote in the chat, I'm recovering from a broken arm. So, of course, in my mind, that's where I thought I would go. And I was surprised in the first meditation that the image that came up very strongly was the sun. It's also very cold here in New Jersey, so that sort of made sense. Um, and what I love about this is I think in my mind what I'm going to write about, and then something totally else comes out on the page. And so I wrote about although I saw the sun, my image was my complete recovery, being strong, being warm, being safe, um, being comfortable, getting to Florida. We're missing out on a trip to Florida because I haven't been able to travel, and how doing those things, my complete um, recovery from this injury will allow all these things. And I'm working hard at physical therapy, and so this was really it was good how the things connected for me. And I was again surprised at what I wrote about. And although I don't remember the original prompt that brought me to the sun, it was very, very strong. So
Mm, beautiful.
that's where I
Yeah,
am. Thank you.
beautiful. Yeah, nice to see you, Michelle, and sending you healing bright light for your ongoing
Thank
recovery.
you too, and everyone else, and some old friends that are here. So thanks.
Great. So I'm going to do two more because I want to take us to the page again. Virginia and then Kitty, and thank you very much.
So thank you for having this and for everybody who has shared. So for me, I guess I wanted to share a little bit about the experience. I almost didn't show up because I was like, I have my goals, whatever the reason. But I was like, I'm curious, journaling. So basically for me, what was interesting is that I had like certain goals in mind, but when I went through the visualization didn't got me to goals. It got me to more of a feeling and an experience. And then through the journaling, I expanded on that feeling and experience. And And it was really, really helpful because it was more like basically through that visualization, the goals are not as much about a doing, but it's more of a state of being. And it was able to really anchor in that state of being for those goals that I want to achieve. So thank you.
Mm. Yeah, wonderful. That embodied sense of energy around our goals is a huge fuel and motivation. Yeah, thank you. Kitty.
Yes, well, thank you, Lynda. I just want to speak to um, the feelings that I had while I was doing this exercise. And excuse me, my voice is breaking a little bit, and I was just very surprised. I think the whole tone of the session, the words that you used, like inspired, guided by our intuition, what's the most important thing I can do to come closer to my goals, all that just got me very energized about my goal. And I kind of stepped into them much more intensely, even. And then there's a sense of kind of personal accountability now that's even more urgent for me. And before I was kind of, oh, passively, oh, yeah, I'll just write my goals down. But now I feel like I'm stepping into them much more. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I can hear the energy just as you shared that. Like there's a kind of a claiming, a sort of um, sometimes our goals sort of just sit as one more thing, pick up the groceries, have my goals written down, they kind of just can be there. But there's something about that stake in the ground, that real energetic declaration that we make towards our goals that allows something to rise up in us. And it is a deeply felt sense. Yeah. Thank you, Kitty. I want to move us forward. And thank you to the people who shared. And I'd love if we had time for more people to share because it is inspiring. We learn from each other's stories and insights. And I just want to check the chat because there might have been some shares there as well. And there's some lovely comments flowing there. Paula offered, writing the goals down makes them real. It gets them out of my roiling head and onto a page where it's there in words. Yeah, nice, Paula. Michelle, I realized I have many goals, many, many goals. It was nice to focus on just one of them. Yes, I know that feeling. Jackie, nice to have you here, Jackie, and I hope you're feeling better. I feel more energized and connected to my goals, and I was very drawn to being devotional. This time feels very precious. The why these inspired goals are important was a game changer as well for me. Yeah, beautiful. I love the words devotion and discipline because there is, when we're devoted to something, something inside of us really comes to life. To be devoted to our goals is in a way to be in service to them so they can also bring all of the beautiful things they'll bring into our life as we achieve them. And it takes a certain discipline, that steadfast showing up again and again to nurture and take action towards what matters most to us. And that's where we're going to go next. What were the words in the meditation that brought us to see the image? I was partly in that, making that as I was going along there, Michelle, but let me come back to that at the end and I'll check some notes I had to see if it might be there. I always start with a meditation and then I kind of just go where it takes me in the moment. So I'll see what I can. I'll circle back to that, Michelle. I love this quote and I love the image too. You can't do everything, but you can do the things that matter most. And I really love this because sometimes we're doing lots of things that actually don't really matter most. We might just be distracting ourselves or wasting time or doing things that really aren't necessarily that important to us, but they give us a sense of, relief or distraction or whatever it might be. And I always like being called back into what matters most And how am I tending to that in my life today? Not a month from now or a year from now, but what we accomplish 6 months from now or a year from now is very much grounded in what we do today. And there's other wonderful quotes that say the future depends on what we do today. There's all kinds of quotes that echo this same sentiment. And our journaling practice can help us really ground into what actions we want to take. Journaling isn't just an awareness building practice. It helps us see in our awareness, well, now what? So what? What actions do I want to take based on the insights I've had about the inspired goals that I have, for example? And I love crossing that bridge from awareness to action. And in this time of the new year where there's lots of energy around resets and new beginnings and goals and intentions and all of these wonderful things, I think it's also important for us to always remember that our goals happen because we have a plan. We have some sense of how are we going to achieve them. And then we use that plan, we work that plan, we take that action. And that's the little bit maybe less inspiring part about goal setting. Sometimes it's very appealing just to sit and think about our goals and get excited about them. And then there's the getting down to the work of achieving them. And I earlier in the new year, I saw a post and it was around, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that the goals themselves don't create the results. I mean, we need to have the goal to know what we're heading for, but it's our habits, those repeated actions, those devotional actions that we take towards our goals that create results. And that's where we need to have clarity as well. What are the actions? So, our next journal prompt: what's one small, doable, aligned action that you can take this week to move towards your inspired goal? Another way to think of this is, what habit do you need to create to help you reach your goals? So I had to create a daily writing habit to write this book that's coming out next month. I didn't have that daily writing. I had a daily journaling habit, but not a daily book writing habit. I had to create that habit to get that done, just as an example. Okay, just take a couple minutes here. Okay, everyone. I'll just pause there. And I'm going to invite us into a final guided meditation and offer you one more prompt. And we will move towards the completion of our time together. So once again, I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze. And feel the surface beneath you, grounding you, supporting you. Take a gentle inhale and a full, unhurried exhale. Now imagine yourself stepping into a moment in the future. A moment where the inspired goal you've been journaling about and thinking about has already come into being in your life. There's nothing left to do. You're simply here in the future, being with what you've accomplished, what you've experienced. Notice where you are and notice what's around you. Notice how you're feeling. Let yourself truly arrive to that moment in your future where the inspired goal that's coming from your soul has already happened. You did it. Bring your attention to how you feel in this moment in the future. Relief, pride, joy, gratitude. Perhaps there's a quiet sense of confidence. Feel these emotions gently setting into your physical body. Allow them to be experienced on each inhale and exhale. And take a moment to celebrate. Celebrate how you've grown, what you trusted, what you devoted yourself to, who you became along the way. Let a feeling of gratitude for yourself and what you've accomplished fill your whole being in the here and now. Take one more slow breath, and as you exhale, imagine anchoring this feeling into your body like a warm reminder that you can return to again and again. And when you're ready, open your eyes, raise your gaze, and let your journaling begin from this place of already having arrived to achieving your goal. And our final prompt, and I'm just going to do the last one, and it's going to be a 1-minute write. How will you celebrate the milestones along the way? How will you celebrate the milestones of all you're achieving along the way? Or how will you celebrate reaching your inspired goal? I'll put that in the chat. And we have 1 minute. Okay, everyone. I know that was a quickie at the end, as Kay Adams calls the 1-minute journaling. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Emma to wrap us up. And I just wanted to share a little journaling gift with you. It's a affirmations for gratitude, 20 journaling prompts to explore gratitude. I think gratitude's an emotion and energy that helps us reach our goals and live our best lives. Thank you for being here. I wish you a meaningful, healthy, what matters most to you type of 2026. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynda. That was fabulous and very calming. Like, I don't know about everyone else, but I am super calm right now and super connected to myself. So feels beautiful. If you enjoyed this session, I thoroughly recommend you sign up for Lynda's weekly journaling newsletter, and you can get her free gift, as she just had up on the screen, of 20 gratitude journaling prompts and affirmations. And I did put that link into the chat for you there. And on a different note, I mentioned Lynda had another book coming out. If you were adopted, or if you know someone who was, Lynda has a brand new book coming out on February the 24th, filled with journaling prompts and healing touchstones for adoptees. So you could pre-order that, and let me just stick that in the, so I know you've put a lot of effort into that. So
it's filled with journaling prompts.
Yes, filled with journaling prompts. And if you'd like to connect with Lynda on LinkedIn, I'm just putting that in there as well. So thank you so very much. A huge thank you to Lynda. That was super helpful. And I'm sure we all have just some really heartfelt, motivating and achievable goals, and some work to do if we want to take that to the next level. So, and a big thank you to you all for being here live today. And of course, to everyone who is watching the recording. So as we begin to wrap up today, it is so important to remember that in our volatile and uncertain world, kindness matters now more than ever. And that kindness starts with us. So just a couple of things that we've got coming up in the Fierce Kindness community. Our February theme is self-kindness. And our February guest speaker is Julia Nedry, who is going to help us unlock a deeper level of self-compassion. And that's coming up on the 12th of February. Our next community meet and greet is Tuesday, the 17th of February. And for our paid members, our February coaching exercise hour will be completing the How to Be Kind to Yourself packed worksheet. And that's next week on Wednesday, February the 4th. And to join us at any of these events, you just click on events inside the community and click the green button to RSVP. And if you're not a member of the Fierce Kindness community yet, we'd love for you to join us as a free member. So I will just put that in the chat right here, right now. We have a paid membership, but we also have a very exciting free membership. And that is it for today. I see we have one hand up. So if you don't mind hanging on, Kitty, we could cover that afterwards. And that is it for today. Lynda, a huge, huge thank you. Thank you to everyone for being here today. Thank you to those brave souls who shared in the chat and shared on the screen with us. And I wish you a great week and a fabulous year, that you achieve those inspirational goals that you dream of. And we hope to see you all soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Go well.